Making reading easier. Top 10 tips for making authentic reading passage. Hello, welcome back to your channel. I'm Bahilo from English for Africa channel, and I'm here today to share with you 10 top tips for making reading easier and prepare authentic reading passage for your learners as an English teacher at any level of education. At the end of the video, I'm gonna give you a sample passage, so stay tuned until the end of the video. Let's get started without any further ado. Comprehension is an important aspect of reading, and reading comprehension can be defined as the ability to comprehend or understand what you're reading. Therefore, as a teacher, to help your learners comprehend any reading text, you must design the reading material with their level and also the context. Both passages designed for an activity, that is classroom activity, and exams have similar characteristic, and that is from its introductions through the body to the inevitable conclusion. A well-written passage carries a willing participant from a state of specific ignorance to one of knowledge. Therefore, the following 10 top tips will help you achieve your goals in designing easier, comprehensible, and well-organized material. Tip number 1. Make it shorter. Most passages consist of at least one paragraph and usually several. Short passage may be 1 up to 2 paragraphs, and long passage can be 4 up to 9 paragraphs. Nowadays, most passages, at least at the high school level, come in at what is amorphously described as medium length, that is 3 up to 5 paragraphs. So this is a typical length of a passage for your students. Tip number 2. Numbered sentences or paragraphs. You need to use numbered sentences and paragraphs. Firstly, let's see how you can number a single paragraph passage. There are 2 strategies for numbering a single paragraph length passage. Firstly, you can put the number in parentheses. That means not the number word, just the number. Let me give you a good example below. The first thing you need to know about food in Ethiopia is injera. This is the first sentence, so you can put the number in parentheses like this. Then it follows in a similar way until the end of the sentence. Injera is made from the local cereal teff. It is cooked on large hot plate, either a special electric one or giant metal plates cooked on coal, wood, dung, or anything flammable and available. The slightly fermented mixture is sprayed on the hot surface and cooked with the best results having lots of small bubbles. A well-prepared injera could mean a wonderful wife for the future. As you can see, this is a good sample passage, a single paragraph, and it gets only 5 sentences. Secondly, you can make a vertical list of separate sentences using numbers, as it can be given below. I have used a similar paragraph that I have used earlier. The one thing you need to see is you have to be consistent with the layout and indentation, as you can see from the example given below. Secondly, let's go to how you can number a multiple paragraphs passage. And again, here we do have 2 strategies for numbering a passage with multiple paragraphs. Let's see them one by one. First, putting the number in a single parenthesis. The passage given below has got 3 paragraphs, therefore I have used numbers with parentheses, that is single parenthesis, as you can see, so that my students easily understand which paragraphs are given in there. So when the questions, they get a question, whether it's classroom activity or an exam question, they directly go to the paragraph that is specifically asked. Secondly, you can again put the number with indentation, as you can see from the example, but again here don't forget to use a similar indentation as well as layout design. The third tip, use double spacing. Look from the example below. you need to use double space between paragraphs whenever you prepare a passage, whether it's written on a computer or you can use you have written on a board. Don't forget to double space your paragraph so that your students easily figure out which paragraph talks about what. Tip number 4, set the scene before reading. Firstly, let's talk about why it is important. What's done before a student begins to read a new text is critical to the reading and the comprehension success. And therefore, you need to set the stage for success with practical pre-reading strategies you and your students can implement right away. So, setting the scene of the text helps students to make predictions and understand the material better. Let me give you a sample here as an example. The following story is from Sharon Craig, and the title is The Great Unexpected. So the writer has set a scene as follows. In the little town of Blackbird Tree, a series of curious events unfolds when Naomi and Lizzie, two spirited orphan girls, meet the strangely charming new Finn. 3 locked trunks, the mysterious Dangle Doodle Man, a pair of rogues, a crooked bridge, and that boy change their lives forever. As the story alternates between their small town and across the ocean, Ireland, 2 worlds are woven together, revealing that hearts can be mended and that there is indeed a gossamer thread that connects us all. As you can see here, the writer tries to give a glimpse of the whole story using a single paragraph and short sentences. So the importance, as I've said earlier, based on the scene of the story, here students can predict what to expect in the story or the text which they are going to read. And this will allow them to comprehend the text easily. One thing I would like to mention here is, if it's non-fiction text, just give them a summary of the whole text using a single paragraph and short sentences, so that they can easily figure out what they are going to expect from the text. Tip number 5, give a list of keywords. So here you list important keywords from the passage at the beginning, and the keywords will help learners to understand the given information better. And the keywords can include names, dates, locations, facts, figures, and etc. You can give them with their meaning, as well as you can just work out with your students' classroom activity. Tip number 6, split long sentences into short ones. If you can do that, it could be easier for your students. So you need to split long sentences shorter and simple ones. You can use different methods to split your long sentence shorter and more easily understandable ones. For instance, you can split your sentence at the conjunctions like and, or, which are called coordinating conjunctions, or while, which are called subordinating conjunctions. Again, relative pronouns, which, verbal conjunction, kind of, however, and extra. Let me give you an example here. The store carries lots of grocery types of items, and it has other services because it's the only store in the small town. We can split this sentence, which is long, compound complex sentence, into 2 paragraphs at least. We can even go beyond that. For instance, I have given you 2 sentences which are split, as I've said. I've get rid of the conjunction and make them separate sentences. The store carries lots of grocery types of items. This one sentence, and then it has also other services because it is the only store in the small town. This is how you can do it and make it easier for students to comprehend well. Tip number 7, get rid of excess clauses. 1 per sentence is enough. Let me give you a good example here. It's an extract taken from a passage, and the title is, Why Did People Start Wearing Clothes? In all societies, special clothes were worn by certain people to show that they were very important. For example, kings and queens often wore special robes and crowns. Similarly, priests and soldiers also have their own form of dress. This use of clothing to identify groups of people can be seen even today in various uniforms. As you can see from this paragraph, a single paragraph, you can see how a single clause is used in most of the sentences, which brings authentic passage to your students. Tip number 8. Allow extra time for thinking. You need to give 20 seconds up to 5 minutes extra time of thinking in your classroom, whether it is an exam or an activity. So whether it's an exam or a classroom activity, giving learners time to process and respond to what they read is a great strategy teachers must use to help their students comprehend and internalize the text well. That means giving learners extra time to process the language is a strategy that can be used in any situation to provide important and effective support. When you give exams with a passage, you need to give a lot of time so that your students can think about what they have read and then do the questions that follows. And again here it allows students who have special difficulties to have the same opportunities as everyone else. So you have two benefits for giving extra time of thinking when you give a passage to your students. Tip number 5. Use familiar vocabulary. I need to say one thing here. Always bear this simple truth in your mind. Unless your students understand you, you have accomplished nothing in your profession. That's why you need to be careful about vocabulary. Let me give you 2 examples. You can compare them easily. A ball can be fun. You can toss a ball, you can pitch a ball, you can kick a ball, you can catch a ball too. You can catch a small ball with one hand and a big ball with 2 hands. Try not to miss the ball. This is the first extract. Second extract. Chip the chimp sits on a branch in an elm. For lunch he will munch and crunch on bugs. Then he will chat with his sis. They will have so much fun that Chip's chum will stop by too. The pals will jump from branch to branch. Here you can see the first example uses simple and familiar vocabulary, whereas the second one is a little bit difficult. So always try to choose a passage with simple and familiar vocabulary, or you can use synonyms to change the difficult words into simple ones. That is going to be your job. Tip number 10. Use familiar signaling words, or what we call transitional words, at the start of sentences. For instance, first, then, next. But these are some of the examples that you can use so that your students identifies the details easily in your passage. I would like to give you a sample paragraph at the end. The title is The Wise Father. Try to see how the passage is composed. What about we talked about transitional words will be given underlined here. Long ago in Africa, there was a father who had 5 sons. These sons were always quarreling, and that made their father very annoyed. So one day he decided to teach them a lesson. First he called all his sons together and then asked them to bring him a bundle of firewood. The sons were puzzled, but did as their father asked. The father took one stick of firewood from the bundle and told one son to break it. The son easily broke the stick. Next, the father asked another son to break the whole bundle. He could not break it. Each son tried his best to break the bundle, but they couldn't manage. Finally, the father said to his sons, "You see, united you are strong, but divided you are weak." At last, the 5 sons understood what their father wanted to say to them. After that, they never quarreled again. This is a good sample paragraph that I would like to give you here based on what we have discussed, the 10 tips This is how it can be done easily. So this will take us to the end of our today's lesson. Thank you very much for staying tuned, and if you do have any question, you can find me at my email. You can just send to my email address given here, and also you can write them down under my comment section of the video. I hope you are going to like and share the video, and if you are new, don't leave without subscribing to the channel in the BA family. Let me see you next week. Bye bye for today. See you.